We're going to be going over things many, many times in greater detail, but just going to summarize the key concepts referenced in Chapter 1 of Bryman's social research methods. There are a lot of common misconceptions about social research, and it's often misunderstood as merely gathering information or conducting market research. So it's really essential for us to clarify that social research is a systematic investigation into social phenomenon. My objective for this course is for you to develop a clear understanding of social research methods and to gain insight into the key components of social research. So why do we do this? Well, partially it's to understand society. I mean, social research is fundamental in helping us understand the complexities of society, including how social structures, relationships, and behaviors function and evolve. They help us to inform policy and decision making. So, governments and organizations rely on social research to develop policies and make informed decisions that address social issues, improve services, and allocate resources efficiently. They help us solve social problems. So, social research identifies and analyzes social problems such as poverty, inequality, and discrimination, providing evidence based solutions to tackle these issues. They help us advance knowledge. So, by investigating social phenomena, researchers contribute to the broader body of knowledge, enhancing our understanding of human behavior and societal trends. And they also help us challenge assumptions and stereotypes. So, social research helps to debunk myths, challenge stereotypes, and question assumptions that are often taken for granted in society, leading to more inclusive and equitable perspectives. They can also promote social change. So, research can be a powerful tool for advocacy, driving social change by highlighting injustices and raising awareness about issues that need attention. They also enhance our professional practice. So, in fields like education or counseling, research informs best practices, improving outcomes for individuals and communities. It helps us with our cultural understanding. Through the study of different cultures and social groups, social research fosters a greater understanding of diversity, promoting tolerance, and reducing conflict. And the impact of social research, especially, when you look at it from the perspective of evidence-based practice, it provides empirical evidence necessary for effective practice in various professions. It can be empowering by giving voice to marginalized communities. Social research can empower individuals and groups, enabling them to advocate for their rights and interests. It promotes innovation. It drives innovation by revealing new insights and promoting or prompting new ways of thinking about old problems. And so, in conclusion, social research is not just an academic exercise, it's a critical tool that shapes societies, influences policies, and fosters a deeper understanding of the human condition. So we're going to look at the introduction to reasoning approaches. So there's two key approaches. In social research, two primary methods of reasoning guide how we investigate problems, inductive and deductive reasoning. And understanding the difference between these approaches is crucial for designing effective research. So inductive reasoning is problem oriented. Inductive reasoning starts with specific observations or problems. Researchers collect data, analyze patterns, and work toward developing a theory or understanding based on the evidence. So, an example might be if we notice a rise in youth and unemployment, we might investigate various factors that contribute to this issue and develop a theory explaining the relationship between education, economic policies, and employment trends. So, the purpose or the goal is to generate new theories or insights based on empirical evidence, and this approach is exploratory and often open ended, leading to new discoveries. Deductive reasoning is theory oriented and it begins with an existing theory or general rule and then applies it to a specific problem or case. So researchers look for evidence that either supports or refutes the theory. An example, if a theory suggests that higher education levels lead to lower unemployment rates, we might test this theory by examining employment data across different education levels to see if it holds true. So the purpose or the goal is to test hypotheses derived from existing theories. And this approach is more structured and focused on confirming or disconfirming the theory. So if you're choosing between inductive and deductive reasoning, the choice of reasoning often depends on the research objectives. So inductive reasoning is ideal for exploring new areas where little is known, while deductive reasoning is useful when testing and validating existing theories. So there's complementary approaches. So in practice, researchers often use a combination of both approaches. For example, an inductive study might lead to the development of a theory which can later be tested using deductive methods. So conclusion, whether using inductive or deductive reasoning, both approaches require careful consideration of the problem at hand and the most effective way to investigate it. Developing the skill to choose the appropriate reasoning approach is key to successful social research. So epistemology refers to the study of knowledge, specifically how knowledge is produced, what constitutes valid knowledge, and the methods used to acquire it. So when we look at positions, these are different viewpoints or stances that researchers take concerning the nature and sources of knowledge. Understanding these positions is crucial for determining the appropriate methods and approaches in research. So, some key questions in epistemology: can the social world be studied scientifically? Positivism, so one epistemological position, positivism, asserts that the social world can be studied scientifically, just like the natural world. And this view advocates for the use of empirical, observable, and measurable evidence to understand social phenomenon. Interpretivism, on the other hand, argues that the social world is fundamentally different from the natural world and thus requires different methods. It focuses on understanding the subjective meanings and experiences of individuals. So, is it appropriate to apply the methods of natural science to social science research? Um, well, positivists often believe that methods used in natural sciences, for example, experiments, statistical analysis, can and should be applied to social sciences to ensure objectivity and rigor. Critics argue that human behavior and social interactions are too complex and context dependent to be studied solely through these methods. They advocate for approaches that consider the social context, such as ethnography or case studies, which can provide deeper insights into the social world. So, in conclusion, in social research, there isn't a one size fits all approach. The choice of epistemological stance influences the research design, methods, and interpretation of results. Researchers must carefully consider their position as it shapes how they view the world, the questions they ask, and the methods they use to find answers. Let's look at ethical considerations and special provisions for vulnerable groups. So, an example: research involving children, the elderly, or vulnerable adults requires strict ethical guidelines to protect participants. We'll be talking about this a lot. This includes obtaining informed consent, ensuring confidentiality, and avoiding harm. So, when we look at this on impact on research, these ethical requirements can limit the scope of research, as certain sensitive topics may be deemed too risky or challenging to study ethically. So, as researchers, we must carefully design studies to meet ethical standards while still addressing important research questions. When we look at participant involvement, and different approaches, I mean, in some cases, it is necessary or beneficial to involve research participants in the design of the study. This ensures that the research is relevant to their needs and experiences and that it respects their perspectives. Um, Involving participants can lead to more meaningful and accurate data as they have a stake in the research and may provide insights that researchers might not have considered. However, this approach requires careful negotiation and collaboration. When we look at influences of funding and funding bias and selective funding, research topics that align with the interests or agenda of funding bodies are more likely to receive financial support. And this can lead to a bias in what is studied, with certain issues receiving more attention than others. This can have an impact on research focus, so the reliance on external funding can shape the research agenda. sometimes steering it away from important but less commercially or politically attractive topics. So researchers must navigate these pressures while maintaining the integrity and relevance of their work. And so, in conclusion, for this slide, balancing ethics, participation, and funding is where we're heading. So, researchers must balance ethical considerations, participant involvement, and funding realities. And of course, this balance is crucial for conducting responsible, impactful, and high quality social research. Being aware of the various influences I just talked about and reflecting on them throughout the research process helps ensure that research remains ethical, inclusive, and true to its original purpose. So we will be talking about literature review over and over again, but the purpose of the literature review is that it serves as the foundation of any research project. It involves a comprehensive survey of existing studies and theoretical frameworks relevant to the research topic. So by reviewing the literature, researchers identify gaps in existing knowledge, refine their research question, and ensure that their work builds upon or challenges existing theories. So, concepts are the building blocks of theory, while theories are systematic explanations of how certain phenomena are related. So, developing and clarifying concepts and theories is essential for framing the research question and guiding the research design. This step helps in establishing the context and significance of the study. So, research questions. The research questions are the specific questions that the study aims to answer, and a well defined question directs the focus of the study, influencing everything from the research design to data collection and analysis. It should be clear, focused, and researchable. When we talk about sampling, we need to think about selection process, so choosing a subset of the population to study. And the sampling strategy determines the representation of the study and the generalizability of the findings. So researchers must decide between different sampling methods like random or stratified based on the research question and objectives. When we're talking about data collection is the process of gathering information through various means such as surveys, interviews, observations, or experiments. So the choice of data collection methods depends on the research design and the nature of the research question. So ensuring accuracy and reliability in data collection is crucial for the validity of the study. Data analysis involves interpreting the collected data to uncover patterns, relationships, or trends that address the research questions. So, depending on the type of data, whether that be quantitative or qualitative, researchers may use statistical analysis or thematic analysis or content analysis. And this step is critical for drawing meaningful conclusions from the research. And then finally, writing up research, the final stage, it involves documenting the entire research process, including the introduction, methodology, results, discussion, and conclusion. And the research write up communicates the findings to the academic community and other stakeholders, and it should be clear, concise, and provide a comprehensive account of the research. So, in conclusion, this is a very interconnected process. Each of these components is interconnected with decisions in one area influencing the others. A well planned research process considers each component carefully to ensure the study's success. It's iterative, meaning that researchers may revisit earlier steps, refining research questions after initial data analysis, for example, to enhance the study's quality. So, again, the purpose of literature review, it's really so crucial. It's the critical first step in any research project. It helps you build on existing knowledge, avoid redundancy, and refine your research focus. So here's some key objectives. What is already known, existing knowledge. So by reviewing the literature, you can identify what's already been discovered or established about your research topic. And so this is going to help to ensure that your research contributes new insights rather than duplicating previous studies. Um, Concepts and theories applied, so theoretical frameworks. Understanding which concepts and theories have been used allows you to position your research within a theoretical context. It helps in identifying the most relevant frameworks for analyzing your research question. Going to help you look at research methods applied. So it's going to provide some methodological insight. So by reviewing past research methods used for your topic, it's going to provide guidance on which approaches have been effective or problematic. So this can inform your own methodological choices and helping you select the most appropriate tools for your study. It's also going to unveil some controversies in the field. So, what are some of the debates and disagreements? So, a literature review will uncover any ongoing debates or controversies related to your topic. And understanding these issues allows you to address them in your research or take a new approach that contributes to resolving them. Um, when we look at classes of evidence or inconsistent finding, reviews will often reveal conflicting evidence or contradictory findings. And so identifying these classes is essential for understanding the complexity of your topic and for planning how your research might clarify or expand upon these issues. It'll also make you familiar with key contributors and influential researchers. So, knowing who the key contributors are in your field helps you to understand the main sources of influence and thought leadership. It also provides you with a foundation of, of authoritative sources to build upon or challenge in your research. So, implications for your research and guiding your study. Finally, the literature review informs the direction of your own research. It helps you to refine your research questions, justify your approach, and ensure that your study fills a gap or addresses a particular need in the existing body of knowledge. So, in conclusion, the literature review is a strategic review, and by conducting a thorough literature review, it's not just an academic exercise, it's really a strategic process that directly impacts the quality, relevance, and originality of your research. And by understanding the landscape of existing knowledge, you can better position your study to make a meaningful contribution to your field. So, understanding concepts in research. So, concepts are the fundamental building blocks of theories, and they are abstract ideas that help us understand and categorize the world around us. So they're important because without concepts, it would be challenging to develop theories and conduct research or communicate findings effectively. So concepts are ingredients of theories. And when we look at theory formation, theories are composed of multiple concepts that are interconnected to explain social phenomena. So, for example, concepts like power, status, and cultural capital are central to many sociological theories. Almost every theory has one or more embedded concepts that are essential for understanding the theory's framework, and these concepts provide the vocabulary and structure needed to explore and explain complex ideas. Bureaucracy, so central to Max Weber's theory of organizational structure and efficiency, we look at things like power, which is a core concept in political science and sociology, central to theories about governance and social influence. Charisma, another concept introduced by Weber, explaining how certain leaders gain authority. Cultural capital, this concept explains how non economic resources like education affect social mobility. McDonaldization, a concept introduced by George Ritzer to describe the spread of the principles of fast food restaurants to other sectors of society. So, organizing your research, clarity and communication concepts help researchers organize their studies to provide clear terms and frameworks. They also make the research intentions transparent to others, ensuring that the research can be understood, critiqued, and built upon. And by grounding research in established concepts, researchers can navigate complex issues more effectively, making connections between different ideas and theories more explicit. So, in conclusion, concepts are not just academic jargon, they are essential tools for organizing knowledge, building theories, and communicating research findings. And understanding and applying concepts effectively is crucial for any researcher aiming to contribute to their field. So, the introduction of research questions, again, research questions are the backbone of any research project. They define the scope, direction, and focus of the study, ensuring that the results of the research is coherent and purpose driven. So, why research questions are crucial? They help guide your literature search. Research questions help narrow down the vast amount of existing literature to what is most relevant to your study. And this ensures that your literature review is targeted and meaningful, directly contributing to your understanding of the topic. It could also influence your research design decisions. So, the nature of your research questions will determine the most appropriate research design, whether that be qualitative, quantitative, or mixed methods. For instance, exploratory questions might lead to qualitative designs, while questions about relationships between variables might require quantitative approaches. So you're going to be determining data collection. So the type and source of data and the research questions dictate what kind of data is needed and from whom it should be collected. For example, questions about individual experiences might require interviews, while questions about patterns across a population might need survey data. Um, your research questions will help sharpen data analysis and develop an analysis strategy. And so the way you analyze your data is directly influenced by your research questions. Whether you're looking for patterns, testing hypotheses, or exploring meanings, your analysis will be structured to address the specific questions posed by your research. When we look at framing the final write up and structured reporting, your report, or in this case, thesis, is organized around your research questions. So each section of your write up, from introduction to discussion, revolves around answering these questions, ensuring that your study presents a clear and cohesive narrative. So, in conclusion, foundations of research. So, a well-crafted research questions are clearly essential for a successful research project, and they provide clarity, focus, and direction, ensuring that every step of the research process is aligned with your study's objectives. Research questions are not static. They may evolve as you engage more deeply with your topic, but they will always remain central to guiding your research decisions and outcomes. Introduction to sampling, practical constraints. So, in research, time and budget are significant constraints. And so, these limitations make it impractical, if not impossible, to study every case or individual in a population. As a result, researchers rely on sampling to make their studies feasible. And why we need to sample: time and money. Studying an entire population would require extensive time and financial resources, which are often not available. So, sampling allows researchers to gather data more efficiently without compromising the integrity of the study. Feasibility: by selecting a manageable number of cases, researchers can conduct their study within the constraints of their resources while still producing meaningful results. So, criteria for selecting samples: you want representation of the population, so it's generalizable. So, samples are often chosen for their ability to represent the larger population, and a well-chosen sample can provide insights that are applicable to the broader group, making the research findings more generalizable. Statistical validity, so ensuring that the sample is representative, helps in maintaining the statistical validity of the study, allowing for accurate inferences about the entire population. When we look at appropriateness to research questions, we want to think about relevance. And so sometimes the primary criterion for selecting a sample is how well it fits the specific research questions. And this might involve choosing a sample that exhibits particular characteristics or behaviors that are essential to the study. When we look at purposeful samplings in qualitative research, for example, samples might be selected based on their relevance to the topic rather than what they're representing. And so this allows for a deeper exploration of specific issues. So, in conclusion, sampling is balancing representation and relevance. It's crucial to the research process, and balancing the need to represent the population with the need to address specific research questions. Careful considerations of how samples are selected is key to conducting valid and reliable research. And the quality of the sample directly impacts the validity of the research outcomes. So, thus, thoughtful sampling strategies are essential for producing meaningful and applicable research findings. So this is just a quick introduction to data collection methods, and we think about structured versus less structured methods. In research, data collection methods can be broadly categorized as structured or less structured, and the choice between these methods depends on the research goals, the nature of the research questions, and the level of flexibility required during the data collection process. So, structured methods, some examples include tools like questionnaires and structured interviews, which were commonly used in survey designs, in design and control a researcher's role. Um, Basically, in a structured method, the researcher carefully designs the data collection tools in advance. And so these tools are standardized, meaning that all the participants are asked the same questions in the same way. And the purpose of that is to collect specific quantifiable data that can be easily compared across different respondents. So this approach is ideal when the researcher knows exactly what information is needed and seeks consistency in responses. So when we look at less structured methods, some examples might include participant observation and semi-structured interviews, and that allows for some flexibility and exploration. And so in this case, the researcher's role in these methods allows you to keep an open mind about what might emerge during the data collection process. So the tools used, such as interview guides, are often adaptable, allowing the researcher to follow up on interesting leads or unexpected findings. The purpose of less structured methods, I mean, these are useful when the researcher is exploring new areas, seeking to understand complex phenomena, or when the research requires capturing detailed, in depth insights that structured methods might miss. So, in conclusion, for our data collection slide, the decision to use structured or less structured methods should be guided by the research objectives, and structured methods are ideal for studies requiring consistency and comparability, while less structured methods are better suited for exploratory research where flexibility is key. Sometimes in some research designs, a combination of both structured and less structured methods can be used to balance the need for standardization with the need for depth and discovery. So, an introduction to data analysis. So, the purpose of data analysis is a critical phase in the research process where raw data is transformed into meaningful insights that answer the research questions. So, this process involves several key steps to ensure that the data is properly managed, interpreted, and linked back to the study's objectives. So, data management, organizing the data. So, the first step in data analysis involves managing the collected data, and this often includes entering the data into a computer program for easier handling and analysis. Preparing for analysis. So, proper data management ensures that the data is clean, organized, and ready for subsequent analysis, which is crucial for obtaining accurate results. Step two is data coding, so systematic categorization. So, after data is managed, the next step is coding, where data is categorized into meaningful groups or themes, and coding is essential for identifying patterns and trends within the data. Um, Coding simplifies the process of analyzing large volumes of data by breaking it down into manageable segments that can be systematically examined. And discovering relationships, analyzing connections. So once the data is coded, researchers can begin to discover relationships between different categories or groups of data. And this might involve applying statistical techniques to identify correlations, patterns, or differences. Insights or conclusions from the data is essential for answering the research question. And when we're linking to the research framework and connecting findings, the final step in data analysis involves linking the discovered relationships back to the research question, the literature review, and the concepts and theories used in the study. And this step ensures that the findings are not only grounded in the data, but also connected to the broader theoretical, conceptual framework of the research. It provides a comprehensive understanding of how those results contribute to the existing knowledge and the research objectives. So, in conclusion, effective data analysis is an integrated process that moves from managing raw data to drawing connections with theoretical frameworks. Each step is crucial for ensuring that the research findings are valid, reliable, and meaningful. And these insights that are gained through data analysis are then used to inform the final write up, where the research findings are presented, discussed, and interpreted in the context of the study's goals. So writing up research, the introduction, this is just very quick uh, purpose of the introduction. It basically sets the stage for the entire research paper. It provides the reader with an overview of the research area, explaining its significance and why it is worth investigating. Research questions. This section also introduces the main research questions that the study aims to address. These questions guide the entire research process and focus the scope of the study. The literature review, once again, is a comprehensive analysis of the existing research related to the topic, and it identifies what is already known, the gaps in the current knowledge, and how previous studies have approached the topic. Um, the next section places the current research within the broader academic conversation, showing how it builds on or diverges from previous work, and it is essential for establishing the foundation of which the new research is based. So when we look at research methods, methodological details, the research methods section details how the study was conducted, and this includes a clear explanation of the sampling process, how participants or cases were selected, and the data collection methods used. It also covers how the collected data was analyzed to address the research question, and this section is crucial for ensuring that research is something you can replicate and that the results are credible. So, in conclusion, each of these sections is interlinked, as we're hearing as a theme, and the introduction setting the stage, the literature review providing the context, and the methods detailing the approach used to answer the research question. So, together they form the backbone of the research paper, ensuring that the study is well founded, methodologically sound, and contributes to the existing body of knowledge. Um, so this is research is messy. There's always unexpected challenges. A lot of times it's portrayed as linear, orderly, but in reality, it's far from that. The journey of research is filled with false starts, dead ends, and unexpected challenges. And these difficulties are a natural part of the research process, but rarely mentioned in the final publication. So, false starts and mistakes, trial and error. Researchers frequently encounter obstacles that force them to backtrack or reconsider their approach, and these false starts are not failures, but part of the iterative process of refining research methods and questions. And we learn from our mistakes. The mistakes made during the research process can lead to valuable learning experiences, offering insights that might not have been discovered otherwise. Sometimes research leads to what is called blind alleys, or paths that seem promising but do not yield useful results. And these moments can be frustrating, but they are also an opportunity to rethink and adjust the research strategy. And successful researchers are those who can adapt to changes and unforeseen circumstances, revising their plans as necessary to continue moving forward. So the importance of being flexible and persevering. So resilience in research, given that many things can go wrong, flexibility and perseverance are crucial traits for a researcher. So being open to change and persistent in the face of challenges can turn setbacks into stepping stones, and research often involves navigating uncertainty. So, a flexible approach allows researchers to handle unexpected developments without losing sight of their overall goals. So, in conclusion, for this slide, embrace the messiness. Understanding that research is inherently messy helps in setting realistic expectations and preparing for the complexities of the process, and embracing the challenges and maintaining a resilient mindset are key to achieving meaningful research outcomes. And researchers should be encouraged to reflect on the process, learning from the messiness to improve future research efforts.